Hey, what's up, everyone? Um, I've been doing a lot of knife videos lately, and I was thinking it might be pretty cool to do one that kind of focuses on being prepared for things. And for those of you with bug-out bags, get-home bags, extra supplies in your car, buying extra things for your house, and of course that old saying, two is one and one is none. Um, one of the things, if you're anything like me, that you prep on pretty big is charging cables and power banks and all that other stuff. I actually did a video on power banks, and it really did not get many views. I thought it was a really important thing to have because, I mean, your phone's a method of communication, whether it be talking, email, text, and whatnot, and plus all the other little gadgets and doodads like flashlights and whatnot that you can charge with power banks. Well, just like I think power banks are pretty good, you're also going to need one of these, a charging cable. Now, this is, I believe, like a no-name charging cable. I bought it at Amazon. It's a USB-C, and I bought a package for like, I think it was like $12 for maybe 5 or 6 of them, or $13. Pretty cheap, but I gotta believe it or not, when you see this, I'm actually satisfied with their quality. That's the name, XIAE. I feel pretty good in assuming that is Chinese made. Um, Now, as you can see over here, we have the braided cable, which I tend to like, and they have a little teeny tiny rubber thing where the cable comes in. I actually bought a new set recently because my wife is usually pretty hard on them. Now, this one I kind of am. I don't want to say destroying, because it still actually functions well. It doesn't look too good, but the one I got now has this hard rubber coating that comes down to here, and it's supposed to stop it from flexing, because if you're anything like me, this is probably the point where you get your problems. The wires become exposed, and then you don't charge anymore. Well, this is the part that goes in the USB port, as you can tell, so it doesn't see too much abuse. This, on the other hand, has seen some abuse. You could tell those wires are all exposed in there. Now, the reason why this happened is because I tend to keep my phone in this little compartment shelf thing, and it's just in front of my shifter and under my radio and whatnot. I like keeping it there. It's secure when I drive and whatnot, and it's easy to plug in. Problem is, I want to keep um, the cable from like hanging off the side. I don't want it to get caught on anything like the shift or anything. So I kind of tuck it in, and when that happens, this kind of gets bent like this, and you keep doing that, and the cable kind of comes loose. Now, like I said, this wasn't a really expensive cable. For the money, I do think it was pretty decent quality, and I don't blame this malady here where the wires are exposed. I do not blame that in the company in any way, because I have a couple of other ones, one that I use in my living room, another one by the bed, and they're still perfect, fine, and good because I don't put this kind of bendy pressure on them. So those are good. So I'm taking the blame for this, not the company. If you do want these cables, they're pretty good. So I had an idea. My wife my wife is really hard on them. So I had an idea, and I bought these cables. They are, let's see, they have a name on them. They do have a name on them here somewhere. INIU. INU, INIU, INIU. I don't know. They were cheap. It was like $9 or $10 for three, and I got like a foot and a half. I think a 6 foot and a 10 foot. So I gave the 10 foot to my wife. I said, "Here, use this one." I got the 6 foot for her also. I said, "Keep this in your purse," and I took this one for the car to kind of replace that one. Now, these were cool because they had really long, hard rubber sections that come down, which is nice to look for. So I believe that it would have minimized as long as the braided cable went all the way up to here and not at the end of the rubber section. I believe this would have minimized any access bending and whatnot. But what I decided to do, I guess I'll call it my charging cable hack, was I got some electrical tape, and it kind of looks like hell. I admit, it looks like hell. And what I did was, right where this rubber part, which this rubber part comes down to here, I put the electrical tape around a few times. Then I kind of rolled it down here a little bit. Now keep in mind the rubber part ends here, and I kind of rolled it down to here. And then I rolled it back up here and here because I wanted a good amount of section where it was gripping the wire and the rubber molding and the case. So you can see it's really not going to bend much up here. If you could see that, it's going to bend very, very little up here. And I'm hoping that that extends the life of this. Now, I don't think this is a foolproof thing that's going to keep it, from breaking. But I do have a strong feeling that it will prolong the life for this one, because this one's going to see some hard times probably in my car, realistically. And then over here with the USB, again, you can tell that, well, maybe you can't tell, but the rubber part comes like down to here, hard rubber, and then I extended it a little bit and I made it kind of thick over there where they would meet. So it's almost kind of like my way of kind of like joining into their hard rubber molding that they have over the braided cable and then elongating it. So this way, if it bends, rather than bending up there, it'll kind of bend down here more. And you can see it's kind of not really as likely to make like an angle, kind of like how this one did. So if you're anything like me, you use your charging cables quite frequently, so try and pick up some more. Try and throw some electrical tape on them. See what happens. You might be able to add some life to them, make them last a little longer. And even if it's to the point where, like this one right here, I'm going to put this new black one in my car, but I'm going to tape this one up too, and I'm just going to keep this as a backup because it still charges. It still transfers data just fine. So I don't want to have this as my only one in my car. I think I actually have another one, but you know what? As a backup to the backup, I'll keep it. Someone else might need to use it, and worst case, I have it. So just a little something for you to think about. Maybe pick up extra cables, throw a little tape on there, move that bending point further down the wire so it doesn't break, because the braids are pretty tough, I think. So that's about all today. Let's call it Telecommunications Day. Have a good one.